Hey everybody, it's Crypto Steve, and I'm back today after putting up a video that updated a lot of my Tron and staking projects that I hope a few of you check out. Only 5 in an hour, but that's okay. And I'm also looking to grow my subscribers, but I'm going to get back to one of the things I like to do, and that's talk about games that are in the crypto space. And this is one that I've done a video about a long time ago, and it's time for a new update. I will put this in here. This was my original guide to Townstar. I've learned some additional things in this past month of playing the game on and off, and I thought I would just share with you guys as we have a season of it, or a round of it, I should say, about to end, how I'm doing, what's going on with Gala, and some other things that are going on in the world of the Gala games. So, Gala Games, who launched Townstar, the game that I did the review on, has their next game coming out. This is Mirandus. Now, Mirandus is going to be one of those games where you can own land. There is only a few of these castles left that cost a whole lot of money if you want to get in it. There is still a decent amount of these. These would be like you own land, but like a smaller piece of land. And then there are some other different items that are for sale when it comes to the game. They're not selling out really quick, and so that's maybe a sign that some people are not totally trusting Gala games so far. I only have a little bit of Gala. I haven't invested any money into this project. I've only invested time, and I've earned almost 7,000 Gala. I've only had 2 referrals to the system, so I got 200 from that. The rest I got for how I've been able to do playing the game. So, we're going to take a quick look at the Gala price. Like most tokens, it got hammered pretty hard and went down about 50%. It would be an interesting time to maybe get in if you wanted to look into the other part of Gala Games, which is running a node. I'm going to do a separate video on the node and more on the Mirandus game soon, but this is more just about showing you a few more tips about Townstar. And we'll go over the Mirandus game a little bit, but I'll go over the land stuff a little bit more. If people are interested, give me a comment, and I'll check it out for you. So, I have my game running over here because one of the things about this game, if it's not on your live tab, your town stops. So, there's 3 hours left in this. The way they run the game is it's live for 5 days and off for 2 days, live for 5 days, off for 2 days. Because the game has to be live and open on your tab, unless you're playing with a buddy where somebody else logs in every few hours or at night and day, it's really hard to keep this game running 24 hours 7, but there's definitely some top players that do it. I do not, and I would be a little bit higher up. I'm about to do a sale, which is pretty cool. So I'm making the baguettes right now. And I don't know where my car went, but I don't need it. That's just a little glitch in the graphics. I'm going to sell those off. That's one of the higher items that you could sell in the game. And it will take this 422 and move it, I think, up to, 437. So this puts me right now in 33rd place. I think I'll be able to sell a few more baguettes and possibly pass this person here in front of me. I don't think I can get to here, and I probably can't get up into here. The top players, they get millions of points. This is actually, I've seen people getting 4 million, so this is a little bit lower. Now, if you've invested money into the game, you can have workers on your town that are more efficient and do things that I cannot. So I never expect to be up here in the top, say, 5. As high as I've done is top 20. That was a time when I was able to play the game constantly and have it running while I was doing other projects on my computer. I had some real life stuff going on that took me away from the house, away from the computer. And this town setup I did, unfortunately, I couldn't leave it running without me here because it would drain my entire bank account here that I had saved up, and I was making too much salt, too much sugar, too much wheat. Those would fill up my things, and then I wouldn't make the baguettes and the cakes. This is a farm setup that I'm going to show you really quickly that is meant to use the ocean to get salt, use the plains to be able to make a farm, and then from there you can go down the baguette road solely, or you can go down the what's it called? I have to zoom out because I'm getting some weird feedback sound from that. I hope that you guys didn't get stuck with that. So you can go ahead and you need to be next to an ocean so that you can get the salt going quick. That is key if you're going to be doing the bakeries. You can't be over here well, that's not a river, but where is a river? This is all, I'm over here in Europe, so this is all there. But here, this is the Nile River, right? The river, if you're next to the river, then you're stuck with the unfortunate fact that you can't do fast salt. This position right here, and see this person's number 23, and any position like here, this guy right here, he didn't deserve that spot, but I got in here a few hours too late. If you can have river on one side and ocean on some of the other sides, or at least just on one side, like this location right here, that would be best. Because as I go back into my town, I had an ocean. So see, here's the salt setup that you can do with an ocean. You put 2 ponds, you surround it with salt. All these ones over here are 20 seconds to make, unlike 10 minutes that it would normally be not near it. The second 2 are minute and a half, and these ones down here are like 4 minutes. So when you don't have an ocean to put your salt next to in these first 3 tiles, as you see, they goes 20 seconds here, and then down up to 4 minutes here. Then normally, if you had salt somewhere over here, it would be 10 minutes. So it just kills you. You can't make enough salt. As you see me, I'm making way too much salt. And you need salt to make the butter. So I have these 2 people making butter. So see, I have 3 butters right now. And that's the key to being a baker. You have to be able to make those things. Flour, you can make a lot of flour, and it's not a big deal. So this is the setup I went for. Anybody who's an experienced player, you can tell me if you would see a way to improve on this. So I did 2 lakes back to back here. One skinny, one big. The bigger one here is to be able to grow sugar. So these are sugars that don't have to be watered. And then the littler one was for trees. So these are trees. And what I ended up doing eventually near the end of the game is I took out the buildings here. I didn't build buildings up in here because I needed these trees to be fast. I needed them to be 20 seconds, and if you clutter them up with other things, then you can't work. All the green grass that you see I have is pasture, so it helps my... I don't know. This is the part of the game I got to get better at. I don't know if I'm feeding these people well enough. I have these ones here close enough to the water to where they don't need to be watered. This one over here and this one over here. I built this one here just because I couldn't build anything else. And this one here, and I just have the 2 water things in kind of weird little spots that were without roads where I couldn't build stuff. And so they get watered, these 2, pretty quickly, considering they have to eat 8 times. It's never been a big issue. They're able to get the water, this water refills in a few seconds. So it's a pretty good setup. In order to be able to make sugar on these 20, and you only need 3, so I only have 3 sugars running, and I still have plenty of sugar being made. You need to make them self-water, you need the 4 waters here, and the water here, and the water here, and the water here, and the water here. That's the only way to set up these locations, which I used to have 4 sugars, but it is more than I needed on this end game setup for this last 2 hours. So I did cut it down. I put another wheat here so that I would have extra wheat built up, because you need to make sure that your wheat is way past your production of flour, because you have to keep this farm getting fed so you can make the milk. So this is the setup you would need to look at for a bakery. Now you could try to arrange this a little different. I don't know if this big outside road and the little less, the row over there is really perfect. Now that I have a better understanding of how much water I need to be able to make sugar, I definitely would need a pond this big somewhere on the map. And I like it more in the middle because water, see, I can grow these here off of this water. I can grow these here off of those waters. So I have a lot more spaces that are really quick, really good growing. And even though it takes up a bulk of the middle, on the outside, I'm still able to line up a whole lot of windmills, and then I'm able to do my enough builders in this area, and then I have this one little itty bitty piece of water off on its own where I went ahead and built in my power plants and my refineries to be able to keep myself fueled up. And this is a pretty good setup. I do think that if I would have been able to play 24/7, I probably would have a lot more points because I only made enough cakes to sell cakes 3 times. I probably would have sold them 3 or 4 more times. Currently, I stopped making the cakes and I moved to just making the baguettes. So that's using the, I'll go ahead and click on a spot to give you an idea. Bakeries make butter, dough, and then baguettes all by themselves. Cakeries make dough and cake, or batter and cake. I had 2 of these. I was making both baguettes and cakes, but cakes take a long time to make because you have to make 3 batters. I don't want to get too much into that for you, but they take a lot longer to make. So at the end of the game, with about 6 hours left, I sold my last batch of cakes. I didn't think I'd be able to make 10 more and so I switched over to just making baguettes. I sold 1 set of baguettes. I just sold another one. I'm hoping to sell 1 more. And that's, if I can sell 1 or 2 more in this next 2 hours, that'll give me that chance, certainly, to probably stay ahead of these people if they're trying to catch me, and then go up to here. And I am high enough out to where I'll get a little payout of Gala, so that's pretty cool. So this is just a solid look at what you can kind of do with your town if you're hoping to be a baker. I like the plains over picking a forest because it allowed me to have the pastures early on, and it's a quicker way for you to make money by putting a chicken coop in the game kind of early and starting to sell eggs that you get for free, just because if you can put you just have to water it, give it 1 piece of wood, and then it will go out and just eat all the pastures. So it's a nice trick to be able to get some extra money early on in the game, having a secondary thing to sell even though you've only set up your first couple windmills. If you guys would like a more strict guide, you need to check out my other video, but then you can see a different way to set up the end when you have an ocean instead of a river next to you. If you have a river here, then this would be where you would build your crops. You would have trees, and you would have all kinds of other things in this area that in these first 3 tiles that were plants, because they would be getting water from the river. Up in the first position, you could put trees and sugar in certain areas. In the second position, you might have to put a pond here, a pond here, a pond here to give those bigger crops and a little bit of extra water. And then that would help you make sure that on the back row where the river would only be giving you 1 water, that you can build in some wheat in the back row. But if you do that, then you need to make sure that you don't build anything near it, so then your building zone ends up being over in here. That's not a bad setup. The only problem with that is that there's no way for you to build salt fast, so you get kind of stuck with what you can create. And I do think that if you go the route, and this, I'm going to try this next time, try to get a mountain and a river. So if you can get a mountain and a river, and I know one of the areas you can do that is over here, where you had one guy set up and he's number 9. And so this is an interesting spot to try out, and you get a forest as well instead, because here you can use the river to grow your trees and then do cotton, and then use the mountains to make steel. So then you can make blue steel, and that's one of the more expensive items to sell in the game. I can go back to my town and show you the buildings that you would need to do that. Oops. So instead of doing the bakery and the cakery and having to play with this whole, how many cows do I need running? How many of these do I need running? How many of those do I need running? You can go to the industrial, and you can do a fabric plant where you would be needing to have sheep, so you have to make wool, and you make that, and then you go with the where is it? The steel mills. Steel mills are expensive, 2 million. So that first steel mill is tough, but you get to get iron mines first, and then you sell iron until you can make the steel mine. And eventually the steel mine, you can make regular steel, but you can make blue steel, and those would be the end games that can make you about the most money. And you do see that I just showed you a guy who's all the way up in number 9 who built in that area. The forests are just a little bit harder to get started in the beginning because it costs a lot of money to get rid of trees, and when your whole map is covered with trees, it's really hard to get a pretty picture like this. In the plains, the things that you have to remove are just brush, and they cost $300 to remove, whereas a tree costs $15,000 to remove. And there's just trees everywhere. Now, the good part of that is that you don't have to. I'm using Brave, so I'm getting some pop-up ads there. You don't have to make trees anywhere special until a little bit into the game, but it's sooner than you would think with trees on your entire map, because the regular trees that show up in the forest, those don't grow back for like 15 or 20 minutes. You see these trees right here, these grow back in 20 seconds. So it's just not efficient to have those there. So you're still going to have to set something up like this. That's why if you have a river over here, you just put some trees by the river to grow super fast to keep enough trees flowing in to keep everything working. And then you can use the middle of the map. You can just eventually clear it all out. It just seems like it's a slower grind. Anybody who has some experience with that, let me know. Does it work well? I'm going to give it a shot for the next season. I'm going to see if I could do better than I'm going to do here, which is somewhere around, I think, about a 450. If I can get these baguettes to 10 in the next 2 hours, I think I can. I made one in this video, and I'm going to focus on making sure that I make more. I got an extra worker here, so it should be good. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody's having fun with this if you're playing. And lastly, I'm going to take a look at their new game and just say that if you're into the idea of gaming platforms that pay you for playing the games, Gala is an interesting one to look at because they have the Farmville game running now. They have you can run a node for it that supports the gaming platform and the tokens and things like that. So it's got a master node element to it that's pretty cool. And then they're going to be launching their second game. This game looks like it's going to be a play off of Minecraft, right? I mean, you see the blocky animation. It's an action-adventure area where people own land. It screams a remake of Minecraft. And Gala Games is the company that made the original Farmville, so these guys do make a clean-looking product. They're going to be able to program out a change off of Minecraft, which a lot of people do, and you're going to have people playing these games and building their towns. They do have a video on the site that you can come check out if you want to learn more about land and titles and how that's going to work. Before you buy any land, I would suggest doing that. They also have a place here where you can see the nodes. Quite expensive, right? 2 million Gala to get a node, and even at 0.002 cents, that's going to cost you a little bit of money. So it's something to think about. Here's they give you some examples for that you can go over, and I don't know this stuff, so I don't want to try to spout off or read it right now. I can make a video about this if people are interested in it. Just leave me some comments below if you've been playing Townstar and you really want somebody to try to break down how this game is going to work, and I will figure it out. These are the, if you want to be a king, $500, right? Or is that a comma? Oh gosh, is that $500,000? Yeesh, that's pretty crazy. But you'd be a king, and they've sold some of these? Is this for real? Huh. I'll have to look into that. That'll be interesting if they've been able to sell that much. But I am enjoying playing Townstar. Eventually, when the new game comes out, I will be playing that. And eventually, a year, 2 years down the road, you might have game, game. And they're all going to be, in my opinion, crypto versions of games that have been popular on Facebook, have been popular in the real world. So they started with the one they knew best and made a Farmville on where you're in crypto. Now they're making what looks like, and I know other people are making Minecraft crypto games, but they're making one here. They'll all be in the same portal. They'll all let you buy things with the Gala token. They'll all let you earn Gala token for playing the games. And we'll see what's next. But I'm hoping years down the road, if this is here, that the few thousand Gala we have will start to be worth some more money. Because I know they don't expect their token to only be worth a few cents. So, everybody, I hope you had a good day. I hope if you check this out, you learned a little bit about how you would set up your town. I'll go ahead and bring the town back up really quick so that you could see it. This is just an idea of a town that at this point is pretty much self-sufficient. It runs really good. I would say the one thing I could maybe look to do to make this a little bit like one where you could set it and forget it and come back to it 3-4 hours later and be able to sell off your baguettes or your cakes. It is maybe not have quite as many windmills and try to find a balance of windmills where I'm just producing enough to keep the other buildings producing quickly. But I didn't spend the time to figure out that kind of math. It would take somebody really, really understanding how long it takes a windmill to make a product, how long it takes the things to the bakers to bake their stuff, and make sure that they're not standing around waiting for you to be making flour, but also make sure that they're not you don't fill up your stores with all these products that then they can't use. So then you're sitting there going, well, it'd be nice, it'd be really cool if you could find a balance there, because the few times I tried to let it run overnight one morning and I ended up having like 40 salt, 40 sugar, 30 sugar, a whole bunch of flour a whole bunch of eggs, and I only have one chicken farm. Can't have any less of those. And it was just like, well, yeah, I have a whole bunch of these things, but I only ended up making like 6 cakes and 12 baguettes. So I was able to sell the baguettes and salvage the game and still play it the next morning. But I was like, man, I wasted a whole lot of money because I'm sure I filled up all of those things and then just started not getting anything for my town working. So maybe less windmills and a few more places to store the products they make would have got me into a place where I could walk away for this for like a few hours. Because right now, after about an hour of play, I have to come and I have to sell off some wheat and sell off some of the stuff that is extra. I did notice since I went into a stronger baking mode, I am running low on flour, but this is just a tweak I did at the end of the game, so I'll have to kind of play with that and maybe take away a tree, because I certainly don't need to have quite as many trees. But I hope you all had a little bit of fun looking at the Townstar game and Gala Games platform. And if you're excited for the new game, once again, please let me know, and I will do a video that recaps that a little bit better. Thanks. Bye.